Excellent. Seppi Shine here. I will call this meeting to order and the time is 12:16 p.m. Welcome to the West Side COG board meeting today on Thursday, December 12th, 2024 here in our beautiful city of West Hollywood. Welcome. We're now going to proceed with a round of introductions and identifying today's voting members, starting on that side of the room, please.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Mandy Jiang. I'm Senior Management Analyst with City of Beverly Hills.
Hi, I'm Chelsea Byers, City of West Hollywood Vice Mayor. I'm just a guest today.
Hi, Jesse Zwick, council member from the city of Santa Monica, the alternate member, but I'll be voting today.
Thank you. Lauren Langer, counsel for the COG.
Winnie Vaughn, Project Director with the West Side Cities Council of Governments.
Cecilia Solano, Executive Director, West Side Cities COG.
Seppi Shine, voting member, City of West Hollywood.
Austin Sear, Deputy Director, Community Affairs, Supervisorial District 3, alternate for Supervisor Lindsay Horvath, voting member.
Shelley Wolfberg, City of Culver City, Assistant to the City Manager.
Dan O'Brien, Mayor, Culver City, voting member.
Excellent, thank you. Before we proceed to our first agenda item or the next agenda item, I'm going to turn it over to our COG legal counsel, Lauren Langer, to clarify important procedural matters when a board officer is not available to chair a meeting.
Thank you. In light of the scheduling conflicts when board officers are not able to chair a meeting or when there's city election results that may lead to a vacancy of these positions, we wanted to just take a quick minute and clarify the process for determining who will chair the meeting. As some may notice, we did say goodbye to Councilmember Seppi Shine last meeting, and thank you for chairing the meeting today. So the first clarification we just wanted to make is the position of board officers. The position is appointed to the individual board member, not to the city. So chair, vice chair, secretary, when the board does those elections, it's to the specific officer, not to the city. And if there's a vacancy of the current board officer position, the bylaws say that the COG board will need to elect a new officer to that position. And the COG staff will go over that process in their executive director's report later on. The other second clarification we wanted to make, which took a little discussion in between meetings this time, is that when the current chair is absent or the position becomes vacant at the time of the board meeting, that doesn't sound right. This is what happens when the current chair is absent or the position becomes vacant at the time of the board meeting. The vice chair will then chair the meeting if the board chair can't be there. If both the chair and the vice chair are not available, then the secretary will chair the meeting. In the event that all of those officers are not available to chair the meeting, then the alternate to the chair will chair the meeting. This took us a little while to work through coming up to this meeting, but I think we have a good plan in place, and we'll be able to function with this meeting today. So thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Council. We're going to move to item 3, action items. Item 3A is the West Side COG October 10th, 2024 board meeting notes. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Excellent. Approved by Culver City and seconded by City of Santa Monica. And can we get a vote, please?
Aye.
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 Excellent. The board meeting notes are approved. Moving forward to item 3B, the Regional Behavioral Health Facility Implementation Strategy. I'm going to turn it over to Westside COG staff for a report on this item and recommended actions.
Great, I will take on this one. As you can see on this screen in your agenda packet, this is a three-part action item to facilitate the work that we will be conducting with the Regional Behavioral Health Implementation Strategy. But first, we want to provide some background context to some of these recommended actions. Next slide, please. So at the October board meeting, the board approved a preliminary list of members for the advisory committee, which would help guide and provide input to the Westside Cities COG and the technical consultant who will be doing this work. Based on the feedback that we heard from the board at the last meeting, we heard that this is a very large body of members to engage and coordinate that may lead to potential shakeout. But we also heard that the list covers a diverse set of voices and is also inclusive. Our staff took that feedback and worked with the homelessness working group to design a tiered framework to better manage the large committee body and ensure that they remain fully engaged throughout the process. And this is what we presented to the larger group of the advisory committee members also last month in November. To kind of frame this tiered framework, first we wanted to rename the committee from advisory committee to an advisory group to reflect the large number of participants and better align their role as a platform for broader stakeholder input and subject matter expertise. And secondly, we proposed creating a smaller body, a steering committee to help with the more focused guidance on how we better engage with the advisory group, which will be comprised of city staff to help develop agendas with the advisory group and make high-level recommendations and vet proposed policies. Riley, next slide. So here's a graphic that better illustrates the tiered structure and how we can better engage folks and manage when we work with the technical consultant. As you can see, the advisory group of 70+ members, they will remain as an essential platform for community feedback and transparency while ensuring broad representation engagement to provide data and feedback to the work. And as we progress in the planning and designing process, we will also form ad hoc working groups that will comprise of smaller task-specific teams formed from the members of the advisory group to conduct focused research and address specific topic areas. And the agenda packet also provides more information on the roles of these specific groups as well as the meeting cadence. Next slide, Riley. So with that said, the first set of recommendations is sub-allocating the local solutions funds to conduct this work with this tiered framework. Currently, we have $258,000 from the county local solution funds for this work. At various convening tables, we have seen the value of incorporating the participation and feedback of community members with direct lived experience. And in our advisory group, we do have a category for lived experience that includes transitional age youth, older adults, LGBT individuals, and BIPOC individuals. And earlier this year, we submitted a grant for the Hilltown Foundation to fund this advisory group convenings. And they supported the stipend structure model for members with lived experience. Unfortunately, we weren't awarded the grant this year, but we will try again next year to see if they can fund more of this work. But meanwhile, we propose that we start this process and start engaging with them soon by allocating $5,000 of the local solution funds in stipends for members that could cover up to 8 individuals for their participation. And that is to attend meetings, review materials, and provide input. Secondly, we also recognize that this work with this tiered framework would require a lot of coordination our end. So we propose that we allocate $13,062 to the COG to allow staff to dedicate more time, up to 20 hours, to organize this work, which includes drafting the RFP for the technical consultant, managing the procurement process, and also manage and facilitate these meetings across the tiered framework. And then we propose allocating the remaining amount for consultant services, an amount of $240,000, which I will describe further in the next slide. As mentioned in previous meetings, the COG is not starting this work from scratch. We would like to thank City of Santa Monica for spearheading this work with their behavioral health facility feasibility study, which looked at the following services that are outlined on the screen today. Basically, the city study evaluated the entire system of intensive behavioral health services in Santa Monica and also in SPA 5 to identify service gaps, significance of these gaps, and strategic investments opportunities to address these gaps. And as we know, West Hollywood is actually located outside. So we want to make sure that we engage with a consultant to expand the work that Santa Monica did to ensure that we cover data and identify potential sites across all member cities. Next slide. So as we're thinking about drafting the RFP, we reached out to the advisory group to recruit members to support us in drafting the RFP as well as evaluating it. And this is our initial list of folks who would be supporting us in that effort. And then next slide, Riley. And in terms of timeline, what we are proposing, we would like to get this work started right away. In December, we would need to finalize the list of steering committee members and then anyone else from the advisory group who would like to join our RFP working group and start working with them to draft and finalize this RFP, as well as the evaluation criteria. We hope that we can issue the RFP before the end of this year, close the RFP in January, and come back to this board in February to share our evaluation and recommendations for a consultant. And hopefully by then we can draft a contract template and have the board authorize us to, and the legal counsel to review and negotiate the contract. And we can engage the work with the consultant as early as March with the project completion date of June 30th, 2026. I do want to note that the technical groundwork should be completed a lot sooner in early 2025, but we want to engage the consultant throughout the rest of the year to help us with ongoing support to develop and implement a funding and partnership strategy throughout this the year to get us to acquisition, potential development, and operational plan of the facility. And then next slide. So just to recap, these are our recommended actions. One is to sub-allocate the local solution funds. The second one is to authorize the COG to issue an RFP for a technical consultant. And each of these have a not to exceed amount. And third is to authorize us to collaborate with the working group and the steering committee to draft, release, and evaluate the RFP for the technical consultant services. And available for any questions or comments.
I do have a question. And I apologize if I missed it in a prior meeting, but what are in drafting the RFP, are we going to be expressing the scope and depth of services that the center would provide?
To address the scope of services, I believe yes. Some of the work has been done already by Santa Monica, so we just wanted to make sure that we expand that work that covers like other cities, including Culver City.
Right, and then kind of polling the other member cities to see what, I mean, I know what, Culver City's, I think, done a great job in providing housing and services, but then there's folks in Culver City who are experiencing homelessness who, need greater care. And there's probably a pretty specific numbers of people. Where are we drawing on that from each city to determine the size of the facility?
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
Thank you.
How many advisory group members are there again?
Right now, 75 advisory group members. And then there's Riley, can you, there's a graphic on slide 4. So yes, the advisory group is the group of members that we approved at the last meeting. And then the steering committee member is going to be a lot smaller with city staff to help.
So 5,000 is being allocated for 75 members?
Oh, this
So I'm
is,
trying to figure out
this is
that-
for 5,000 for advisory group members who have direct lived experience.
Okay, and how many are those?
Right now, we have category of 4
Okay.
individual. So it was transitional age youth,
Okay.
older adults, LGBTQ, and then BIPOC, and then anyone else any other subpopulation.
How many meetings are we expecting them to participate in?
Right now, and we hope we could do more if needed, but with the advisory group, at least, same with the COG, every 2 months or quarterly.
Okay. So it's 625 for each meeting that they I'm trying to.
For each person.
For each person,
Mhm.
for the total. So for.
Up to
every
at
2
least 8
meetings?
individuals.
Like how many total meetings are we thinking for them to participate
At
in?
least 4 to 6 meetings.
4 to 6 meetings. Okay.
And right now, so we did apply for the Hilton Grant Foundation.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we weren't awarded, but they did encourage us to apply again for 2025. So we are going to try that again. There is another allocation of local solution funds for the next fiscal year. So that's
Okay.
another opportunity to draw additional funds for specifically advisory group members with lived experience.
I think that's really important to be conscious of the fact that people with lived experience being asked to come and share their experience for something like this is wonderful, but also it can bring up a lot of trauma. And let's weigh that into the amount that we're providing for them for their time.
Okay.
And I don't know how long these meetings are, but I really want to make sure they're adequately and equitably compensated.
Mhm.
And it feels to me like this is okay, but getting more for them would be I suggest a priority, however we can tap into increasing the funding.
Okay.
Okay. The rest for me looks fine. Any other questions? Any comments from other members?
No, just happy that you guys are coordinating closely with our staff and the work that they've already done on this issue. So thank you.
Excellent. There is a recommended action to approve the 2025 West Side COG Board meeting schedule. Is there a motion?
Do we need to move on this item?
Or
Oh, we need it.
Am I
I
on
can
the
make a
wrong
motion.
thing?
I can make a motion that we approve.
Oh, 3B. Yes, there we go. Recommended action. So
Yeah, I can make a motion that we approve item 3B, all 3 parts, the suballocation of local solutions funds, authorizing the COG to issue a request for proposal, and authorizing the COG staff to collaborate with the steering committee and the working group on said work.
will you add also a recommendation for staff to prioritize applying for whatever extra funding we can have to increase the amount for the advisory group?
Yeah, I would encourage, I'm happy to include additional direction that staff apply again to the Hilton Foundation to try to get additional resources for that.
Great, thank you. With that, any second?
I'll second.
Great. Call the vote, please.
Oh, do I need to call the roll? Oh, roll call?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, roll call.
Culver City?
Aye.
Santa Monica,
Yes.
County of Los Angeles, and then West Hollywood.
Aye. And thank you for catching that. I skipped over 2 pages. I thought that sounded weird. I'm like, board meeting schedule. All right. Okay, moving to item 3C, County Homelessness Regional Coordination Contract Amendment number 3. I'm going to turn over to West Side COG staff for a report.
Okay, so we're back. One more thing on the Local Solutions Fund. As you'll note in the materials, the city of Santa Monica wants to modify their list of programs that they want to use their funds for. So as a result, we're here today to add those 2 new programs into the authorized Local Solutions Fund. Oh, sorry, if you can change keep going forward. There we go. That's it. Yeah, so it shows you the different allocations that they propose to make. So this is just enabling them to add 2 new programs, that flexible housing and homelessness prevention assistance and the food insecurity stabilization program, which were not previously part of the fund or part of the program. So with that, we would then reallocate the city's allocation. So it won't affect the allocation for any other city. It's just allowing Santa Monica to move their money around to these 2 additional programs. And with that, we would request your approval of this change in the Local Solutions Fund.
Thank you. Are there any comments or discussions?
I
Anyone?
think the executive director summarized it well, but we're simply moving some money around in our local allocation. The county's already approved it, and this is hopefully just some bookkeeping. So thank you.
All right.
I'll make a motion to move the item.
Okay, great. And I will second that.
I'll second.
Okay.
For roll call vote, Culver City,
Aye.
County of Los Angeles, abstain, West, Santa Monica,
Yes.
and West Hollywood.
Aye. Wonderful. Okay, so item 3D, we have the proposed schedule for the 2025 West Side COG board meetings, and I'll turn it over to Cecilia.
Great. Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. So our bylaws set that we need to meet at least 4 times a year. We've traditionally been meeting every other month. We've been meeting on the even months of the year. So this is just continuing that schedule for 2025. Delighted that the great city of Santa Monica has now joined the rotation of hosting us. We're spreading the love all the way to Santa Monica. So this is the proposed schedule. One tweak to this schedule is in October. In order to accommodate folks attending the annual League of California Cities Conference, we're proposing moving that to October 16th. It would have normally been a different date, but we want to make sure it would normally be on the second Thursday, but we're proposing that it be on the third Thursday so that all of you can attend the League of Cities and Jeff will have somebody to hang out with. So with that, we would recommend approval of the schedule for next year's meetings.
Excellent. Is there a motion to approve the board meeting schedule?
So moved.
Excellent.
Second.
Wonderful. Motion by Culver City, seconded by Santa Monica.
I'll conduct roll call. Culver City,
Aye.
County of Los Angeles,
Aye.
Santa Monica,
Yes.
and West Hollywood.
Aye.
Thank you.
Now we have the executive director's report.
Okay, so a few things going on. We have the board roster. We know that there's going to be some changes in the composition of our board. We will expect to have new members of the board of the Westside Cities Council of Government, new representatives from our cities. We know you all are doing your reorganization at the beginning of the year. And so we look forward to seeing our new board members. Sad to see you go, Seppi. Long goodbyes, 2 meetings in a row. Okay, thank you. So that's one thing. We're also going to be, once we get those new board members, we're going to be coordinating with your city representatives to make sure everybody files an assuming office statement and leaving office statements, Sheppy, for under Form 700. The joy never ends of being a public servant. Okay. We also have currently a vacancy on the Westside Cities Council of Government Chair, and we will also have a vacancy after today's meeting. So in February, we're going to be having new elections for the chair and the vice chair position. Couple other things. We're going to be working with the treasurer to start the audit for the last fiscal year. And more interesting, I think, is that we're launching the REAP 2.0 projects. You'll recall that we received funding from the state, then it was taken away, now it's back. And now, better yet, the funding's been restored and the deadlines have been moved out a bit in recognition of the fact that we were on pause for quite some time as the state of California was working out its budget situation. So we hope to launch our process with finalizing a memorandum of understanding with SCAG on the grant very, very soon. We have also been notified by SCAG that even though our deadlines to expend the money have been moved out 6 months, we can't begin the process of putting out an RFP under the SCAG process for another 6 months. So that could be a problem. So the timeline would mean that we would have a notice to proceed around August 2025, which would give our consultants less than 11 months to complete their scope of work to develop our regional housing trust implementation plan and provide on-call technical assistance for our member cities. This is like such a long time coming that we really do want to expedite this. We typically use the SCAG procurement process. We might still do that, but we're going to be working with your we may really want to have the COG go ahead and do the procurement process ourselves, and we don't have to wait 6 months for SCAG to do it. If we did that process internally, it would mean that we'd have to upfront the cost to the consultants and get reimbursed by SCAG. Not a small matter. I can say that as somebody who gets paid by SCAG on other matters. So we're going to talk with our treasurer, which is right now at the city of Culver City, see how we're doing on our cash reserves and if that's something we can do, because we know your cities are anxious to get going on this regional trust fund. We know you're anxious to get your technical assistance continued. So we'll be consulting closely with our treasurer and see if this is advisable. If we can do it, we'll do it, but we don't want to put the COG in a precarious financial position. So if it doesn't seem like we have enough reserves and the treasurer's not comfortable, we'll proceed with SCAG's process, and the consultants are just going to have to work really fast. Okay, so that's REAP 2.0. Any thoughts? I'd love if any of you have thoughts about that, please. This is a great time to advise me. No thought. Okay.
This is
Yeah.
This is mainly about the previous proposal for consulting on a regional housing trust fund.
Yes,
That's been put on hold.
that's been on hold. Yeah. So
I mean, I would say if we have the money, and I would suggest we try to find a way to move as fast as we can if we have it.
okay. Thank you, council member. We'll see what we can do. Okay. Last thing up is call for nominations. It's that time of year. Lots of nominations coming up. We currently have a call for 5 positions to represent the COG. They're up on the screen. At the League of California Cities, SCAG, and the Santa Monica Bay Restoration Commission. All city council members and mayors are eligible to apply. These are 2-year positions. We are accepting letters of interest by Friday, January 30th, so please spread the word to your colleagues. We have attachments in the agenda packets. You can learn more about the position and the meeting cadence for these agencies and organizations. All of these positions get appointed by the COG board, except for the SCAG Regional Council position, which you may recall goes through a complicated, maybe not so complicated, but it is a little bit of a cumbersome election process. SCAG requires that the COG facilitate an election. A maximum of 5 city council members and mayors from each city are eligible to vote. In the case of Santa Monica, you have 7. So you'll have to decide amongst yourselves who the 5 representatives for city council for Santa Monica will be. And then we have to have an in-person election where everybody shows up. And that'll be the regional council election. Proxy votes and voting by teleconference are not allowed. So there's more information on that process. We have to get it right because it's really a lot to ask your members to show up for a meeting. If we can't make quorum, it's really disappointing, particularly for the candidates that have worked so hard to try to run for that position. We're going to be coordinating with SCAG. So they'll be present during the election to make sure we're running it appropriately. And Lauren has a point on that.
I just wanted to remind everyone to also work with your city clerks to make sure that that meeting is posted appropriately, because you're going to have a quorum of your own councils. So it has to be posted a special way in addition to the way that we normally post a COG meeting. So just advance notice. It usually comes up as an emergency to figure it out at the end. So everyone just be aware that there's special noticing requirements.
Thank you, Lauren. Really important. So we will be working with your liaison on your staff, but just something for you all to know. So that's all coming up. And it is an exciting time of change and transition at the COG. And that is my report. Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you so much. Moving forward to item 5, which is transportation updates. And COG staff is going to have a presentation for us.
Sorry, can I ask a question? Is the election going to be at the next regularly scheduled meeting, or? Sorry, on the previous item.
The election for chair and vice chair, yes.
Oh, no, I'm sorry for these positions.
For the positions, yes, right? Yeah, in February, but not the regional council position. That'll be a separate
Okay,
thing.
thank you.
But on the same day.
On the same day. Wait, does everyone need to show up in February? That's the question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great. So Riley, please start your update.
Thank you, Councilmember Shine. This is a pretty quick update. Two transportation items that we want to update you on. The first is our Measure M multi-year sub-regional program 5-year cash flows update. So this is the sub-regional program that goes towards active transportation and first last mile projects that we received from LA Metro through the Measure M ordinance and sales tax revenue. And we distribute that to our member jurisdictions based on service population. So as you may know, each year we receive a 5-year cash flow update. So in October, we received an update showing the next 5 years and essentially releasing for the first time our fiscal year 28-29 allocation. So we have an unallocated balance rolled over of around $7 million from previous years that has been rolled over based on the decisions of the member jurisdictions. And then for fiscal year 28-29, we received an additional approximately $14 million to distribute in that year. And we received a similar amount for fiscal year 27-28 last year, so no surprises here. What that means is we have around $21 million available for cities to program to active transportation and first last mile projects through fiscal year 28-29. Those are distributed based on service population. And I will show a bit more detail about this on the next slide. We also have some brief updates on the Sepulveda Transit Corridor Metro Rail project. So just to provide a bit more detail on the MSP 5-year cash flows, again, we allocate these funds to the member jurisdictions based on their service population, which is population plus number of jobs in each jurisdiction. What that means is each jurisdiction has a specific amount of funds available that will mostly be available in that year 5, which is now fiscal year 28-29, but some of the jurisdictions have money rolled over from previous years. And so you can see on this slide how those balances are distributed. This is based on the allocation that we originally approved back in 2021, I believe, and then revised last year to address some boundary discrepancies. And we will be working closely with the COG Transportation Working Group, with your transportation staff to distribute these funds, program these funds with help from our consultant, Fair and Peers. Now, on the next slide, we will provide updates on the Sepulveda Transit Corridor project. This is a massive project linking the San Fernando Valley to the west side through Westwood. The environmental review phase started almost 3 years ago and is still ongoing. It's a lot of environmental work and public outreach that has gone into planning for this project. And those of you who were on the board at that time may recall we adopted a position in support of a station at UCLA and a seamless connection to the Metro D line, which you may know better as the Metro Purple line, which is also currently under construction, expected to open in 2028 with its extension to Westwood. So 3 of our jurisdictions, Beverly Hills, Santa Monica, West Hollywood, submitted letters supporting this position or something consistent with this position in September and October 2024. And the good news is that there are originally 6 alternatives released back in 2022. 4 of those 6 were consistent with our position. They have a station at UCLA, a seamless connection to the new subway under Wilshire, And then one of those two that did not meet our goals was eliminated. So now 4 of the 5 remaining alternatives actually satisfy our support position. And we do expect the draft environmental impact report to come out next year with more details on this project. And just to illustrate what I mentioned about the 6 alternatives, these are 3 of the 6 alternatives. These are actually the 3 monorail transit alternatives. So alternative 1 on the left, alternative 2 in the middle, those do not have a direct on-campus station. They would require a transfer to a bus or a people mover. Alternative 2 was eliminated. So now only alternatives 1 and 3 remain. Alternative 3 actually has a station at UCLA. It would be an underground monorail station. Alternatives 4, 5, and 6 are more common heavy rail technology that we have on the Metro D line and Purple line and the Metro Red line. And these all satisfy the criteria for an on-campus UCLA station and a seamless transfer to the D line. So we should have a lot more detail about this project in 2025 when we receive the draft environmental impact report. So we will continue working with our transportation working group to ensure that this project meets the subregion's goals. Any questions?
It doesn't look like it. Thank you for that report, Riley. Moving forward to item 6, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff Kiernan for an update from the League of California Cities for legislation.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Just wanted to, obviously, my report is in your packet. I'm certainly happy to answer any questions on that, but I also did have a couple updates since that report was made. The League of California Cities has issued our 2024 legislative report. This is a 150 give or take page report of all of the new laws that were passed during the course of this year that may impact cities. Included in that is a legislative update, good briefing kind of on what happened during the legislative year in sort of each of our big policy categories. That was sent out by me this morning via email to all of our council members and legislative staff in the cities. Just to, I'm certainly happy to provide that to any of the board members who may not have seen it. Additionally, we held a approximately 90-minute webinar with our lobbyists at the beginning of this month that sort of went over some of the highlights of the major legislation that has happened this year and how it impacts your cities. So that is available also in that same email. And then last week, our board of directors at Cal Cities, as well as what we call our league leaders, the heads of our caucuses, departments, regional divisions, and policy committees got together to do a strategic planning for the coming year. They set 4 goals for the coming year. I'll read the top line of each one of them just here now so you understand kind of what we will be focusing on. Number 1 is protect local revenues and expand economic development tools. Number 2, strengthen climate change resiliency and disaster preparedness. Number 3, strengthen and modernize critical infrastructure. And number 4, secure investments to prevent and reduce homelessness and increase the supply of affordable housing. That's what we've been working on sort of at the Cal City state level. The Los Angeles County Division will be meeting this Saturday to discuss similar proposals or goals for the coming year. And then obviously, I just wanted to highlight some of our upcoming events. Our new mayors and council members that is listed in your packet in the Northern California, that is actually sold out. But the Southern California one in Garden Grove, January 29 through 31st, is still open and available. We're hoping that certainly any folks who've been newly elected to councils would try to attend that. It's also a great idea for anyone to come and participate if they just want to review some of the basics, finance and Brown Act and all of the things that really are very helpful and critical when you're on the dais yourself. I guess I can let my report stand at that. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Thank you, Jeff. And
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate your work. All right, we now have item 7 is a receive and file. Please refer to the agenda packet for the COG's final audit in 2022 to 2023 to file in our records. Are there any questions about this from any members? Okay, great. Moving on to announcements. Are there any announcements from voting members for cities? No. Okay, well, I will re-announce that this is my last meeting for the West Side COG. I already had my last meeting at the council earlier this month, and it's been truly a pleasure serving. I've served as the chair of this COG and as a regular member. So it's quite fitting that I started as, I believe, chair after the first or second, I don't remember, and ending here in my city of West Hollywood. I appreciate all of you who I've served with. I appreciate staff and Cecilia and your staff and my staff, Hernan, for all of your, there you are, your guidance and help through these past 4 years, and our council, incredible council, Lauren Langer. So thank you. And now we're going to move on to item 9, which is future meeting and agenda items. Our next meeting will be held in Beverly Hills on Thursday, February 13th, 2025. And we also have item 10, which is public comments. We have a public comment from Equal Means Equal.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity to make a public comment today. My name is Camila Lopez, and I'm the founder and president of the national civil rights nonprofit organization, Equal Means Equal. The recent Final Impact campaign from Equal Means Equal is focused on raising awareness about the urgency of finalizing and certifying the Equal Rights Amendment. Our latest installation is right here on the exterior of the West Hollywood Library, and I hope you will be able to join me after this meeting for a short press event to commemorate this important public installation. Many of us in the civil rights struggle, especially those of us focused on women and LGBTQ+ rights, are extremely concerned about the potential of the new administration to increase rollbacks and directed attacks on our human rights and our protections under the law. We have been raising the alert that the publication of the ERA would put the courts and the country on notice that equality, regardless of sex, is now a constitutional right and must be adopted and enforced. We are thrilled that very recently we've been joined in this position by extremely important allies, including the American Bar Association, the League of Women Voters, the American Constitution Society, Women Lawyers on Guard Action Network, the National Association of Women Lawyers, the American Association of University Women, Women's March, and 46 U.S. senators who just sent a letter to the president urging him to publish the Equal Rights Amendment immediately. The media is also waking up to the issue with recent articles in Bloomberg Law, Daily Costs, and Data for Progress, finding, quote, voters want Biden to adopt the Equal Rights Amendment as the 28th Amendment to the Constitution. All that is required is for President Biden to instruct the U.S. Archivist, Colleen Shogan, to publish the ERA as is required by law. She has said that she would do so if instructed by the president. We must use every available means now to pressure President Biden to take this step and ensure and protect the rights of over 180 million American citizens who presently do not enjoy the equal protection of our laws. I urge you to use your considerable skills and networks to help educate and motivate influential citizens and members of the media to take a stand on this critical matter and inform the public. With 38 days left to achieve this goal, time is of the essence. I personally will be moving to Washington, D.C. for the remainder of President Biden's term in office to do whatever I can to save the ERA before the work of millions of women for over a century is thrown into the dustbin of history. Thank you so much. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Well, with that, we are at the end of our meeting. It is 1:01 p.m. and our meeting is adjourned.